All right, thank you so much. The program stay here this morning on ITV. I told you that we're going to be talking about environment issues today. Most especially at this time of the year is the corn season in Benin City. If you drive around, there's every tendency for you to see one or two things that you may not like, particularly as we have constructions here and there, and also have drainage system in our city. Well, we are so privileged to have Honorable Mrs. Omwa Oniopako here with us this morning. She is the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Environment in Edo State. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV. Yeah, and we are going to be looking at issues. I don't know if we can just get that close, but maybe as the segment progresses, we should be able to get something that I would like you to quickly react to. Talking about drainage system in Benin City and all that. But what is your immediate response to some of the environmental issues in Benin City per se? Take, for example, the way things are thrown around, items, dates, and all that. And, you know, you just drive around, you see things that ordinarily you do not like in our drainage system.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Like you say, we see things just being thrown around. Now, who throws them around?
You and I.
His Excellency. The governor doesn't go around throwing it around. Yeah. The deputy governor does not go around. It's people like you and I who are going around throwing it. Hopefully you are not. I'm not as well. But yes, there are people out there who feel that that is the best form because they want to run away from paying their waste management bills. Now, when we have to discuss this, like I always tell people, is a behavioral pattern. We must have a paradigm shift. It's a mindset thing. Like you say, every corn season, and I'm sure that you've been around for a while, so every corn season, year in, year out, we're having to deal with these issues. Now, several people are going to eat corn. We eat corn, you eat corn, but you dispose them properly. So what's wrong with the other people? Why are they not disposing it properly? They see the hazards it causes. In fact, they don't even throw it so far. They just throw it in the gutters in front of their houses or in front of their shops. And then when the heavy rains come, they are the first people who shout and scream and say, oh, erosion, oh, wima, oh, this one. Oh. You know, it's just all turning around and turning around on the same spot. The truth about it is that we run a PSP system where we have waste managers who clear debts. The last program I came on, I brought the chairman with me, and they are private individuals like you and me. It's a job creation scheme. People apply for it to get that permit. Yeah. So if you don't pay them, they can't fuel or diesel their trucks. They can't pick the debt. We regulate them. We don't have waste trucks to pack debt. We don't do it. So if those people don't get paid, then they can't work. But I think most people believe that it's a government thing, but it's really not. It's a PSP thing. And those are the reasons why the people come, they want to get monies, they are not being paid. I've done my rounds this morning, and you could see even the markets are high. People are saying, oh, because of COVID-19, they're not getting as much customers as possible, so they are not able to cut away.
Okay, let me pause you. How would you want to describe this government's administration, you know, on the maintenance of public facilities in Edo State?
I believe we've done exceedingly well. I mean, that is the foremost thing that, you know, it's been said about, you know, the government. It's very clear. We're seeing the amount of roads that are being done. We're seeing the amount of inter-street roads that are being done. Truth be told, we are seeing public facilities springing up all over the place. All you need to do is go to Palm House and see what it looks like. You've seen what they're doing with the new Court of Appeal building.
Yeah, we're talking about the maintenance now, not basically the provision.
Okay, well, the maintenance has to do with the people who would be housing those buildings. For example, you would expect that every ministry that is going to be enshrined in the new complexes would have a cleaning system. I'm sure you have one here in ITV.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so that's the way it's going to be on all public facilities. We're not going to come as a government and clean every church, every mosque. Those are things that are individual things to do. What the government does everywhere around the world is to take care of the municipal areas, the areas that don't belong to anybody, so to speak. So we will
such as drainage systems.
Yeah, such as drainage systems, but not drainage systems in front of people's homes. That is your duty, because you have something, you have like a gutter coming in from inside your house, coming out to the gutter in front of your house. I mean, you look at it a bit, you look at me a bit shocked, but it is actually an individual. Everybody does it across the world. You're going to clean your house and clean the front of your house. I do it. I hope you do it, because you're looking at me like I'm saying something.
When you say so, because if you look at our drainage systems, our gutters, practically all the gutters in Benin City, as far as I know, one or two gutters passes through somebody's house.
Yes.
So then in turn means that government probably does not have a role. Is that what you're saying?
No, government has a role. We take care of the big drainages. So for example, let's use Oselu for one.
Okay.
If we clean the whole of Oselu all the way to Oluku, that's a straight road. Coming from ITV out, it's your duty to clean that. If you block that, you are not going to be able to link into the municipal areas. That's where the blockage comes. In your homes, for instance, the drainage passes through the front of your street, most people. The front of your house, most probably on the two sides. So every neighbor, everybody that lives on your street is culpable. That's why we have Odion Wayers. Last year, we got the Odion Wayers to help us. They cleaned, we carted away, and then we dealt with the municipal areas. But that's the way it really is. We have, God knows, maybe 800 and something side streets. You know, so everybody has to take this as a responsibility. If you did your bit and you made sure your neighbor did his bit, then as it's flowing out from your area, you won't be having erosion issues. Then we're mandating government to say, okay, you clean the big drainages on the road, because now our streets are clean, but at the junction, the covert is blocked.
Okay, so what we're saying is that the responsibilities are dual, in the sense that the government has a role, individuals, corporate organizations
have a role as well, yes.
Okay, now let's look at our abattoirs. They're also public facilities. You know, if you go to some abattoirs in Benin, they are not that encouraging. I remember as a little boy when I was growing up in Benin, you could hear of health inspectors going around abattoirs to see how healthy in terms of the environment are before any cow, any meat can be slaughtered. Do we still have that now?
Yes, we have our sanitation officers. It's a dual responsibility between myself and my colleague, the Commissioner for Health. The Ministry of Health basically has officers as well, health officers that go around and do a lot of checks. We do for environmental compliance, meaning we're looking at the sites where they're going to be working, we're looking at the kind of things that they're doing there. Like I said earlier on, there are always people who would cut corners, who will go behind. Abattoirs will spring up in areas where it shouldn't spring up, behind people's homes. You know, people give them cover for a lot of those sorts of illegal activities. Constantly we're trying to stem it down. But instead of shutting down, we try to sensitize the people for them to understand what the health benefits are, especially in this era of cancerous elements and viruses and bacteria that we don't know anything about. So it's a constant consciousness of our people. If you go to an abattoir, for instance, and you saw that the area was so filthy and you refuse to buy the meat, that's usually, you know, once the business is not moving, it's a check and balance system that makes them now go back to the thinking board and start to sweep and clean. But if you come and notice that it's filthy and you still buy the meat, then you understand? Government comes, when we get there, they run away, helter skelter. We'll go there tomorrow again, they run away. Next tomorrow, they are there again, you know. It's just all a rat and mouse kind of a game. But I mean, if we look at the ones, the major one by Ewa Road Junction, by Koba Slope there, we've tried as hard as possible to get them to conform. And if you go there, Alaji Lawal has helped us a lot to make sure that the people conform into health benefits. And we'll keep advising our people, please, when you see abattoirs that spring up in areas where you know this one is not a government recognized abattoir, there is no stamp, there is no name on it, do not buy from them. Because if you buy from them, you are at risk And all of us eat from bukas, all of us eat out.
Yeah.
So it is a general problem. I too could get affected.
Yeah.
So the pleading is for them to please continuously adhere to sanitation issues and sanitation provisions as have been provided for them.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you drove from town towards Oluku, and there's a heavy drain by Tom Line and Uselu Markets, also at Adolo Junction on this road.
Yeah.
Now, what is the government doing to evacuate this drain and clean this drain? It's a problem, here in Benin.
I believe this is your turf, and I mean, you do this program quite often. We know we have a desiltation process, and last year we desilted. Early this year, we've desilted the whole of Ugbo. I remember ITV calling me and saying, oh, you people have started desiltation, because we know that this is a red spot. Now we're doing S&T. You can see the amount of work going in there, and the whole idea is to be able to cut away all the water coming from your end and that Uselu axis, and to fit into what we call the stormwater scheme. Yeah. And you can take your cameraman there. It's work in progress is going on. We'll be through in a little while. What stopped us from the 80% we were 3 months ago to where we are now? The corn, the cobs, the refuse. People just went, they saw the big holes, they just started packing refuse. The market women at night will sneak and go and dump it in there. So now what we're doing is cleaning debris instead of continuing with the work. So it's taking the contractor a step back. They need to now clean, pump it all out to be able to have free channelization of water and for the work to continue.
Now, the reason why we're asking this, it seems that your own environment, or you want to say government, is overwhelmed. Because we see, at times when rain falls, like at Ugbo here, when rain falls, the next thing you see the heavy pool of water and all that. Now, despite your own efforts, it seems that what you guys are doing is not just enough.
No, I don't think it's what we're doing that is not enough. I think it's the indiscriminate attitudes of our people as a people that is overwhelming. Why won't you have erosion issues when the whole urban areas are overbuilt? Have you looked at it? Was this the way Ugbowo was? Was this the way Uselu was? Can you see the houses springing up from everywhere without any proper planning for them? Those are the issues. These things are not rocket science. What is overwhelming about trying to cut away water? The only problem we have is not to break houses while doing it and allow people lose their pensions. There's no overwhelming thing about that at all. What overwhelms us is the attitude of our people continuously. It is an attitudinal thing. If you are overcrowded, then you don't have space. If you are interlocked, it's a biodiversity issue. That's biology and diversity. We need to merge it. There are no plants. There are no flowers. Every day we're talking deforestation. Even start from your homes. If you've interlocked the whole of your compound and cemented it, please, where the hell is the water going to go? There's no tree. There's nothing feeding from it. There's nothing. There's no grass. So we all need to start doing a change. All over the world, you see the things happening in America, you see the flooding issues, the rains are going to get heavier. Yeah. The ozone layer is thinning. Yeah. It's an intellectual thing. Until we start to think that way, are we going to say they're overwhelmed in America or in England or countries that are more advanced, that have a whole state being wiped out?
Now, one concern also is that when we find your ministry desilting or packing out the debris from gutters, the next thing we just see the heavy decks, on the side roads, on the side of the roads. Then rain falls, it pushes them back into the drainage again. We've seen that over time. I don't know if you are aware of this.
No, I don't know what you mean over time. I mean, not on my turf, not on my call. Yeah. Because last year, I remember it was one of the things that we had as praises. Yes, we would zone our desilting, and when they desilt, our prayer is for rains not to fall at that particular time. But we have trucks as well who are contractors who are meant to go to these zones and clear. And last year we were able to do it. For Christ's sakes, when we desilted Ugbo and the entire axis, and we're doing that earlier on this year, I don't think you saw it go back into the gutters. If not, coming to your office today would have been a problem. So not on my turf, definitely. Okay.
Now, let's go to schools now. The federal government has actually given green lights to schools to start thinking of how to reopen, particularly for students in graduating classes. Now, we saw all that happen, how markets were moved to alternative centers, the schools and all that. Are there plans on ground to see that these schools are cleaned?
Oh yes, of course. As we've started moving the markets gradually, it's been His Excellency's prior incentive, to see how we can make the area safe, even whilst the market women were moving. So of course, we had all the fumigation exercises going on within the market. Gradually, we've started moving the markets back. If you notice, a lot of markets are going back. Now, as the markets go back, the schools are also being tabled for cleaning. So we're going to cut out all the debris. We're going to have to clean them, fumigate them, get them ready for the students to come back. Right now, if you go to quite a lot of the schools on my list, if you told me, I would have brought the list with me so you can actually check. I like us to be able to put our money where our mouths are, so that if I tell you, go and check Imagoro, go and check these areas, go and check Opasakwamba, go and check these schools, you will see the work happening. There's been a lot of grasses in those areas as well, so we need to get them to cut them so we can see the level of dirt. And yes, we're going to clean out all the schools, definitely.
So how soon are we looking at that?
Well, the work has started. As we continue, as we're moving each market out and we're looking at the safety, when the COVID-19 team gives us a clear go-ahead, we move them again and then we clean the schools. There are schools now that are being cleaned. I will get the information out to you, but off the top of my head, I can tell you 3. I know we've started work at Imagoro.
The COVID-19 team, are they still on force in those states? Because we saw a report yesterday whereby some ad hoc staff were protesting that they were not paid, that government seems to have disbanded or stopped them. Is that correct?
I just heard it myself as I was sitting here listening to the news.
Okay, you saw it on the news too?
I saw it on the news. I was just saying it on the news today. I didn't see it yesterday because I was out on the field yesterday. I don't think that is the concern. I know that the COVID-19 team is on. I'm not a member of that team, but I'm aware that it's ongoing, and I know that His Excellency is chairman and well, de facto chairman, but the deputy governor is chairman of the team. And I know that he's worked assiduously to make sure that things work well. So I don't think I'm in the right position to be able to say if they've been paid, if they've not been paid,
what
who
is
pays
your own
who.
government?
Yes, who says who and who says what, but I wouldn't know that if I'm not. It's like calling the commissioner for information and asking him environmental issues. He's just going to know ordinarily what we would discuss, at an exco level, but he won't know the nitty-gritty with it. I won't know if they were paid or not. I wouldn't know if it's NCDC to pay them or is the state government to pay them. I have my hands full
anyway,
with the things I have to do.
During your talk a while ago, you talked about removing refuse from water. I think that was when you were trying to address the issue at the Law College Road Junction.
Yes.
Where precisely are you doing that? Removing that refuse from water?
Refuse from water?
Yeah.
What sort of water? Like water in the drainages?
Probably.
It's everywhere. There's water everywhere. The gutter in front of your office, in fact, yes. There's water and there's dirt. We've not started. What we did at first, we knew that Ugbo and Oselu axis was a red spot. So earlier on this month, a few months ago, earlier in the year, that was the first desilting that we did. We made sure we cleared up this whole axis so that we can see what the other red spots are. Now, our red spots for last year are not our red spots for this year. Our red spots for this year have moved a bit further. So we're having more problems around the Adolo, Erediawa, Dumes, Upper Sakwamba axis. And funny enough, around GRA, because Ugbo, as Ugbo gets flooded more, it's pushing into, the inner parts of GRA. So our dissertation process is going to start within the week. We've gone around looking at the different spots so that we know what to do.
Okay.
We just don't want to take the monies and throw them out there. We want to know what to. So when we start assigning them to contractors, we know what we expect of them. We had to go and check our receptacles as well. We built 3 receptacles at Erediawa. That is why it's at the stage where it is. We've paid compensation, but we've noticed that it can't carry as much of the water as we want it to carry. It's carried enough.
When you say
people are
receptacles
enjoying.
now, you're talking about the secondary drains, like the canals and...
Yes, when you build a receptacle is the one that has cells on there.
Okay.
So you have drains all linked into it. So what it's meant to do is to disperse water from the bottom of
But
the
the
ground,
ones we
but
had
you don't see
before,
it.
somehow they are blocked. Take for
No, we
example,
cleaned them
people-
constantly. We cleaned them last year, so they are not. If all your receptacles are blocked, sir, you can't sit here. We have 4 receptacles. We have in what do you call it,
Benin?
military base. Yes,
Okay.
we have military base. We have by boundary road. We have all those areas. If they are blocked, the whole place will be
Be
swimming.
submerged.
Yes, so they get dirty. But how do they get dirty? They get dirty by the debris we put in.
All right, my PD is already pushing for time.
okay.
I just thought we should be able to expand this discussion more, but subsequently you should be able to come on this program.
I would love to.
All right,
I would
thank
love
you
to.
so
I've
much.
enjoyed
So
myself
that we
thoroughly.
can talk more. What we'll be talking with Mrs. Oni Okpako, Omwa Oni Okpako, the Honorable Commissioner for Environment in the Edo State, and reacting to some issues that relates to maintaining public facilities in our society. Well, a very big thank you to you, madam.
Thank you very
for
much,
joining
sir.
us on the program.
Thank you.
Well, that's the program today, this morning on ITV. It's been so wonderful here, getting to know that right from 7 o'clock till about this time, we've been together. Uyi Agbamafugwe is going to be here tomorrow on the same program, this morning on ITV. My name is Evan Sunokoge. Goodbye, and God bless you.